Hello and welcome to the Grand Line Review, your source for everything One Piece. And today we are going to be stepping into a more neglected side of the series for this channel anyway, being the Marines. Now in such a pirate-focused world, these guys can be easy to forget about, especially since they can go entire arcs without so much as a mention. However, they are undeniably the strongest organized force within the One Piece world, and at their helm are some incredibly monstrous individual powers that I would like to examine here today. Now before we begin, I should say that there are very few ways to empirically construct this kind of list, as despite 22 years of publication, we have never seen these figures truly go all out, with perhaps one exception, but we'll get to that. So let's all just remember that this list is primarily for the sake of fun and discussion. So if you disagree with my picks or the order they've been placed in, then please do let me know in the comments. In a civil manner, of course. But for now, the criteria for this list is as follows. To be considered as one of the most powerful Marines, a figure must have displayed said power in some form, which you know may not necessarily be as straightforward as the criteria makes it seem. Furthermore, all characters on this list must be canon, or else a Buster Call will be immediately ordered on all of your homes, so out of concern for my viewers, I simply refuse to engage in non-canon speculation. You're welcome. But with that out of the way, let's begin. Welcome to the top 5 most powerful Marines in One Piece. Number 5. Fujitora. Kicking things off, we are heading straight to the top with an admiral, and this should be a pretty scary indicator of what's to come. So Fujitora is still a relative newcomer to the series, having been inducted into the Marines during the global draft following the Paramount War. But in that 2 years, he rose rapidly to the rank of admiral because this man is not to be trifled with. Now a lot of this has to do with his ridiculous devil fruit known as the Zushi no Mi, a paramecia type fruit that allows him to manipulate gravitational forces over whatever area he chooses at will. And to demonstrate just how potentially broken this power is, Fujitora is even able to extend his control of gravity into space and summon a meteor to collide with his unfortunate targets. But in addition to this, Fujitora also possesses incredible unnatural strength and speed, as well as a proficiency in armament haki and a specialty in observation haki. The specialty was a necessary development as Fujitora is blind, a condition that was self-inflicted, so as not to gaze upon the injustice of the world. However, this restriction has led to a highly advanced development of observation haki that almost certainly borders on, if not is, future sight, and he can sense all living things around him very clearly. And with this combination of abilities, Fujitora's combat CV is extensive, having been able to defend against both Monkey D. Luffy and Don Quixote Doflamingo, seemingly effortlessly I might add, as well as completely overwhelming Zoro, fighting Sabo to a standstill, and with the assistance of Suru and Sengoku, he even defeated Jack, one of Kaido's highest ranking officers. And this is all before we've seen his true potential. Fujitora is a force in this world who stands at the pinnacle of individual power, and yet he's just our introduction to this list. Number 4. Kizaru. Moving on, let's take a look at quite possibly the fastest character in the entire series with one of the slowest of minds, Marine Admiral Kizaru. So this fine fellow is best known for having a Logia fruit that allows him to conjure, manipulate, and become light, which, allegedly, allows him to move at the quote-unquote speed of light. And whether or not this is strictly speaking true, well, that's up for extended debate and I won't go into it here, but what is undeniable is that Kizaru becomes fast AF, and this speed heavily increases the force of his attacks, leading to devastating results. Not only that, but conjuring light also allows Kizaru to fashion all sorts of light objects and even fire a form of laser beam, all of which is incredibly potent and will take down most opponents within a single strike. As for demonstrations of this power, well, Kizaru did manage to eliminate 4 members of the worst generation pre-time skip with incredible ease, as well as stand up to the former first mate of the Pirate King Silvers Rayleigh, and still not show any real level of concern. Now this may be because Kizaru is just, a chilled kind of guy in any situation, but at the same time, anyone who can cause the living legend that is Rayleigh even a modicum of trouble is an individual to be in awe of. But the CV doesn't end there, as Kizaru also fought Marco the Phoenix quite comfortably during the Paramount War, and even briefly took on the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard. Although with that said, there is at least one man in the world who can put a halt to Kizaru's lightspeed rampage, and that is Ben Beckman. But even with that One Piece kryptonite, Kizaru is still one scary mofo. Number 3. Sakazuki. So because this is an examination of strength, let's immediately kick this guy off with a statement from the One Piece Vivia Card databook in relation to Sakazuki's Devil Fruit abilities, which were referred to as having the highest offensive power amongst all Devil Fruits. Pretty compelling stuff there, and the Maga no Mi, which allows its user to conjure, manipulate, and become magma, does not disappoint in that regard. Even with Haki in mind, there are very few individuals in this world capable of taking on Sakazuki due to the incredibly deadly nature of his Devil Fruit. But that's not all there is to this man, because physically he is is also an absolute beast, which was clearly demonstrated during the Marineford arc when Sakazuki engaged in an extended bout with Whitebeard, managing to tank 2 Earthquake and Haki-infused point-blank attacks from the strongest man in the world, one of which was notably powerful enough to carve the entirety of Marineford in 2. And it was still not enough to put Sakazuki down for good. Furthermore, during the skirmish he also managed to deal grievous wounds to Whitebeard, at one point punching off a huge chunk of his head. Or moustache, if you watch the anime. But one of Sakazuki's more famed battles would be the fight to decide the next Fleet Admiral against Kuzan, which was conducted on Punk Hazard, and while we did not see the fight firsthand, the results ended up radically and permanently changing the entire climate of the island. And just to cap things off, Sakazuki is a man who was able to fill even the jovial and ballsy Blackbeard with terror, as at the mere mention of his name, Blackbeard immediately fled, not wanting to get into a confrontation with him. I'd also mention that Sakazuki was of course the one to kill Portgas Ace, but I'm not entirely sure how fair it is for this discussion, as the Maga no Mi is a higher order fruit than Ace's Mera no Mi, so he never stood a chance. But if anything, I suppose that once again goes to emphasize the sheer power of Sakazuki's Devil Fruit, and along with everything else, there is no denying that he is one of the most powerful Marines, as well as just straight up one of the most powerful characters within the entire series. Number 2. Sengoku. Now moving into the truly legendary territory, we have Sengoku the Buddha, a man who has been described as one of the finest tactical minds in the world and who certainly possesses the power to match. On his own, Sengoku is a physical force to be reckoned with, crowned as one of the strongest marines of his generation, which was shown when he demonstrated the raw power capable of pinning down a certain Monkey D. Garp during Marineford. However, it is impossible to move on without acknowledging his Devil Fruit, which is a mythical Zoan type known as the Hito Hito no Mi Mortal Daibutsu, and is quite possibly one of the craziest powers ever displayed within the series. With it, Sengoku can not only become a gigantic Buddha-like statue thing, but with his size, he gains tremendous strength and is even able to maintain his speed. But the crowning feature of becoming a big old Buddha is the ability to produce explosive shockwaves that were shown to be strong enough to blow away the majority of the Blackbeard pirates, who aren't exactly a weak group of individuals themselves. Plus, Sengoku is one of the few people in this world who possess a mastery over all 3 types of Haki, because thanks to the wonderful VV card databook, it was confirmed that while he's never displayed it, Sengoku does indeed wield Conqueror's Haki, thus making him a very formidable presence on these seas. And really, the only issue I have with Sengoku here is that we've never truly seen what he's capable of. I mean, there have been glimpses here and there and heavy implications given his position as the former Fleet Admiral, but there's just not enough evidence to support his claim any further, and really that's the only reason why he comes in at number 2. Now before we move on to our top spot, we do have some honorable mentions for this particular list, and we're going to begin with Kuzan. Some of you may be surprised to not see him here, but my reasoning is almost entirely semantic. He isn't a Marine anymore. Therefore, he doesn't qualify. For the record, if he did, I'd probably place him below Kizaru and probably in front of Fujitora, but he was clearly inferior to Sakazuki, which is the only hard evidence we have to go on. Next up, we have another figure in the current Admiral Ryokugyu. The problem with him is that not only have we not seen any of his power whatsoever, we haven't even seen his face. He's probably ridiculously strong and he may very well deserve a spot on this list, but all we have is the single shred of tangible detail that he is an admiral, and with that alone there's not a lot I can really do. And we're in a similar situation with former Fleet Admiral Kong. Many people may try to make the argument that he's one of the strongest Marines who have ever existed, and once more, it may even be true. But while we've actually seen his face, he has no more place here than Ryokugyu, although I'm very much hoping that the series will expand on him in the future, perhaps through a flashback or something of the like. But for now, I think it's only appropriate to get back into things and conclude this video with number 1. Monkey D. Garp. Also known as Garp the Fist, and more importantly as the hero of the Marines, there is really no one more fitting to top this list. And that latter title was very well earned during the mysterious, at the time of this recording, era of the Rocks Pirates, which saw 2 of the strongest figures in history, being the Emperor's Big Mom and Kaido, rise to prominence. However, Garp is most well known for being something of a rival to the former Pirate King himself, Goldie Roger. The 2 were known to have clashed on many occasions, and while that might not be great evidence for our purposes here, given that Roger's exact strength is an unknown quantity, when we examine Garp's pure physicality, there can be little argument. First off, Garp is a man who is known to throw cannonballs with his bare hands, which actually end up being far more effective and destructive than when they're fired by real cannons. Should he so choose, Garp is also capable of wielding a giant, and I mean giant, iron ball and chain, which is slightly smaller than the size of his own personalized marine battleship. His punches are so potent that he can completely wreck figures like Don Chinjiao and Marco the Phoenix in a single strike, and he is also of course a proficient wielder of armament and observation haki, with the maybe potential of Conqueror's haki, although although that is entirely speculation due to Garp claiming that Luffy had inherited the ability, although who knows, that might not be a genetic inheritance. However, Garp's true strength can also be well gauged by those around him. For example, the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard, who has been referred to far too many times in this video about Marines, held great respect for Garp's power, which is very, very notable when you compare it to Whitebeard's attitude towards Seikuzan, whom he referred to as a rascal. That really should display the gap in power between Garp and the then admirals of the Marines. Although furthermore, during the Paramount War after the death of Ace, Garp very seriously stated that he intended to kill Sakazuki, the number 3 spot on this list, and Garp probably would have done it as well if Sengoku had not restrained him. In fact, Sengoku really is Garp's only competition on this list, but what puts Garp far and above in my mind is the fact that he isn't even a Devil Fruit user. His power is 100% natural and condensed into a fist that could threaten the very stability of the world were he not a member of the Marines. But thankfully for them, he is. And so Garp the hero, until further notice, will remain supreme as the strongest Marine in the series. But that pretty much does it for the top 5 most powerful Marines in One Piece. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produces in general, then please do consider donating to the Grand Line Review Patreon, because the support of all of you amazing people is what continues to make this channel possible. And if you'd like to see more videos like this but applied to other anime and manga series, then please do check out my second channel, New World Review, for all of your wider needs. And if you'd like to join the fun at any time, then please do head over to my Discord server, where a wide array of shenaniganry takes place on a daily basis. And finally, please do comment with your own most powerful Marines in the series. This has been the Grand Line Review, and I'll see you next time. Will the channel comments ever come back? You're about 80 behind at the moment. Alright, here's the thing about the best channel comments. Those were by far some of my favorite videos to make. They were very good fun and I never really intended to stop making them, but to be completely honest, what happened was I stopped getting the comments to fill them. There came a point in the life of this channel where everyone just started posting normal comments and the wacky and weird stuff that I used to feature dried up. So that, combined with the fact that those videos never got great views to begin with, very much left me in a place where I decided to use my time to produce other things. I do still save weird comments that I may want to feature in the future, but basically if you guys want best channel comments back, then you need to provide some best channel comments. Exactly how many episodes of One Piece exist? Lots. If animals could talk, which would be the rudest? Tough question, but if I had to pick one, I'd say it was the mouse, which has kind of been the name really.